Let's be real for a second. Have you ever noticed that your brain, well, it loves a good shortcut? It is absolutely wired to find the path of least resistance, even when that path leads you right into a trap. So today, we're going to put our own minds under the microscope. We're diving deep into 4 powerful ideas on what we'll call cognitive fitness.
And I want to kick things off with a simple, maybe even slightly insulting question. Why is your brain such a cheap date? Seriously, it's so easily impressed, it falls for the simplest tricks, and it almost always chooses what feels good over what's actually true. Let's dig into why that is. And this brings us right to our first big concept, which the author calls the nice price fallacy. It's this, deeply human tendency to mistake a friendly face for a kind system. We fall in love with the pretty wrapping paper and totally forget to even check what's inside the box. This slide just nails it. This is a perfect illustration of what's called cognitive ease. Our brain's built-in preference for things that are simple and don't require a lot of work. So, you meet Harold. He's the lovely 80-year-old greeter at Walmart. He smiles, he's kind, and because of that, our brain takes this huge leap and decides, hey, Walmart must be kind too. We just ignore all the evidence of a massive profit-maximizing machine because, analyzing corporate labor practices is hard. Liking Harold, that's easy, and our brain is going to choose easy every single time. And this quote just brilliantly sums up the problem, doesn't it? We give all the credit to the delivery system, the charming actor in the commercial, the smiling greeter at the door, instead of looking at the actual design or the message itself. I mean, the actor has a face, the writer's invisible. Harold has a smile. The corporate structure is just a spreadsheet. We always choose the part we can connect with, even if it's just the mailbox. So okay, that's our first mental shortcut. But what happens when we take that same lazy thinking and apply it to, entire groups of people? Well, that brings us to the second big idea we're tackling today, which absolutely deconstructs the mythology of generational buckets. Yeah, it's time to talk about coming off age. I mean, just look at this. The executive zodiac. We have been obsessed with putting people into little categories forever. It's just that today, it's not about the stars, it's about birth years. We've basically just traded one kind of magical thinking for another. Generational labels are really just horoscopes 2.0. They're this convenient fiction that lets us think we've figured out our colleagues without doing the exhausting work of, actually getting to know them. And this is pretty much what it looks like in the wild, an anthropological exhibit of our finest potato-based stereotypes. You got the boomer hoarding all the wealth, the Gen Xer who just can't be bothered, the millennial with his avocado toast trophy, and of course the fragile, screen-addicted Gen Z. We laugh, but this is genuinely how we talk about millions and millions of people.
All right, so if we're going to treat birth years like they're some kind of cosmic destiny, let's just lean all the way in, shall we? Forget Mercury in retrograde. What truly governs your fate is whether the housing market was good when you were born. So let us now consult the ancient charts of economic anxiety and cultural resentment.
Ah, yes, the baby boomer. Your ruling celestial body is the McMansion. The stars are aligning for you to make a sweeping generalization about nobody wanting to work anymore, probably to a barista who is in fact working very hard. You should beware a pending software update. Your mantra is, I paid my dues.
Generation X, the invisible cynic. I see that your ruling planet, apathy, is in a very stable orbit. A major crisis will happen. You will solve it with a heavy sigh and a subtle eye roll, and absolutely no one will notice. Do not expect any credit. Your mantra? Whatever.
And the millennial, the anxious mystic. Ooh, Saturn is returning to your house of imposter syndrome. A targeted ad will speak directly to the deepest parts of your soul, and you will immediately purchase something you can't afford. You will feel a strong urge to monetize a hobby. Your mantra, just need to get my life together. And finally, Generation Z, the chaotic oracle. The spirits tell me your vibe check is mid. You're gonna oscillate wildly between performative activism and some hyper-niche absurdist humor that no one else gets. Beware of chuggy energy from your coworkers. Your mantra, it's giving existential dread no cap.
Okay. We've had our fun exposing the absurdity of it all. But these mental shortcuts, from Harold to horoscopes, they really point to a much deeper problem. We are absolutely drowning in information while we are starving for wisdom. And that brings us to the third big idea from our sources. What if we treated deceptive language with the same seriousness we apply to, say, contaminated food?
This leads to a really brilliant proposal. an information nutrition label, a totally transparent breakdown of what's actually in a piece of writing. It would measure things like meaning density, so the ratio of actual verifiable facts to the total number of words. And my personal favorite, emotional sodium, the amount of inflammatory, outrage bait language that's just designed to spike your blood pressure instead of actually informing you.
And all of this would feed into a really clear grading scale. You've got grade A, that's optimal nutrition. It's dense, it's transparent, it's verifiable. But way down at the bottom, we have grade BS, cognitively toxic. And this isn't for stuff that's just wrong. No, this is for content that shows a complete and total lack of concern for the truth. It's a public health warning for your mind.
So, what kind of stuff would a system like this flag?
Well, first up, a classic linguistic toxin, the innovation black box. You've heard this a million times. It's a word that lets a speaker sound like a total visionary without having to commit to a single concrete idea. It's the ultimate empty calorie, a placeholder that claims to be the engine of the future when it's usually just a fresh coat of paint.
And then you've got the cereal scoop metric. Remember when cereal boxes promised 2 scoops of raisins? Right, but a scoop isn't a real unit of measurement. It could be a thimble or it could be a shovel. In the corporate world, this pops up as massive growth or significant engagement, these vague stats that are designed to make you think there's a lot of something without any standardized baseline. It's nutritionally void.
Okay, so if our information diet is totally broken, what are we supposed to do about it? Well, that's the final big idea we're covering. It's time to stop just analyzing the junk food and start hitting the cognitive gym. All right, enough theory. It's time for a gut check. Put down that donut of distraction and pick up your dignity. We are going to shred that waste of time.
I want you to hear me on this. Stop eating digital sugar. Those 15-second clips, the outrage bait, the endless fail compilations, they are the high fructose corn syrup of the internet. Yeah, they give you an instant dopamine hit, but they leave you intellectually hungry and totally bloated.
You say you don't have time? No excuses. Here is your 20-minute mental hit workout. 5 minutes warm-up. Read one newsletter, and I mean read it. No skimming. 10-minute sprint. Pick one concept you don't get and go deep. Find the primary source. Then a 5-minute cool down. Share what you learned. Boom. You just metabolized more real information than most people do in a week of doom scrolling. You think you're fit? Let's do a stress test. Right now. Power goes out, Wi-Fi's dead. How does your brain react? Do you get phantom swipes trying to refresh a dead screen? Are you a fridge zombie, just opening the dark refrigerator over and over, hoping new snacks have magically appeared? Are you narrating your own actions out loud just to fill the silence? This is your brain on digital dependency. Okay, let's bring it all home. This lands us on the most important point of all. All of that discomfort, that mental effort, that feeling of chewing on difficult information, that's not a bug. Friction is not a flaw in the system. Friction is the system working. It's the speed bump your own brain installed long before developers came along and paved over it.
You know, ultimately, this all comes down to agency. We are clever monkeys who are being led into the dark, sometimes by a nice man with a flashlight, sometimes by an algorithm. But the path was always ours to walk. We just have to stop handing the flashlight away to someone else.
Look, we only just scratched the surface of these 4 incredible pieces. If this sparked something in you, please go read the full articles these ideas came from. Subscribe for more of these explainers and share this with someone who you think needs a cognitive gut check. Your brain is a muscle, all right? Now go get your reps in.